It's Tuesday, and that means Tuesday Tablescape Topics. Today's topic, I want to talk about the most common mistakes I see people making in setting a table. And actually, more specifically, the most common mistakes I see when people are creating a tablescape. So I'm talking a little bit more than the correct placement of your utensils, dishes, and glassware. I'm actually referring to the whole table setting. I'm Nicole with Adorn the Table, and I'm excited to talk today about the most common mistakes when you're setting a table. And I'm talking about mistakes because I think sometimes it's easier to remember what not to do than what to do. So if you know what you're doing wrong, that means you'll be doing it right. Right? I think that's right. So the first common mistake I see people making when they're setting a table, and remember, don't do this, please, is they're putting huge oversized elements in the middle of their table. Big things that are obstructing the view of guests from seeing each other. So let me show you an example of what I mean. They are taking large candle holders like this one, and they're putting big candles on top of it, and it's hard to see around, especially if that candle is right in front of your line to the other guests. Now, I understand that candles don't take up much space in the middle of your table, but if it's in a line of sight of seeing other guests, like this, which is right now, you are directly across from me with the camera, and I can't see you unless I go like that. And you don't want guests looking around and dodging each other to be able to see. So make sure you put your candles in a way that it does not obstruct the line of sight for other guests. So put yourself in those seats, take a quick look around, and adjust as you need to. But along these same lines and along the same idea of this mistake of putting tall candles in the way of seeing each other, I've got another one for you. So same idea though, but check and see what I'm talking about. Gorgeous, tall floral displays. And I mean, they're gorgeous. They look fabulous on the table. You've spent all this money on it. You've created it yourself, and it looks fabulous. You know what the only problem is? I can't see around it. I mean, can you see me very well? Because if you're my guest, I can't see you. And there's no way I can see the person who is sitting directly diagonal from me. Think about that when you are setting up your table, when you're creating your tablescape and you put something big and huge like this in the middle of your table. Put yourself in the seat, take a look around. Is that going to prevent guests from seeing each other? Because the whole intent of having friends and family over, sitting around the table, is to be able to converse and enjoy each other's company. And you sure can't enjoy each other's company when you're trying to look through the flowers and whatever display that you have going on. So if you do get something like this beautiful floral display, leave it on when your guests first get there, but have a plan on where you're going to put it when it's time to sit down. Again, whether it's on the end of the table or maybe on a surface behind you, but move it so it can still be enjoyed, but that it won't be a distraction and an annoyance on your table. Okay, I have another common mistake that I see people making that I know you can easily correct this mistake yourself. And that is forgetting about those things that most people ask for, like when you're going to a restaurant. What is it that when people sit down and the waitress says, "Do you need anything?" that they ask for? Almost always, they're going to want salt and pepper. Make sure you have these on the table or that you have them within an arm's reach to easily be able to grab, because you don't want to have to get up from your seat and go and get them. Similar idea with the water as well. A lot of times people like their water being refilled while they're enjoying their meal. Make sure you have a pitcher of water available easily to refill those drinks. Again, same thing with wine and whatever beverages you're serving. Make sure they are easily accessible during the meal that people can refill their drinks. So that's a very common mistake that I know you can, when you remember, avoid it. Okay, I've got another one for you. And this one really has to do, let's kind of go back to those flowers and the candles I was just talking about. Because this mistake, again, easily avoidable. And what happens is that people put scented candles or very fragrant flowers on their table when they're serving a meal. And that, to me, is a huge mistake. And the reason why is the smells that are coming from that scented candle or the flowers are going to fight against the delicious aromas of the meal you're serving. You put a candle on your table that maybe it's a sea breeze, and that's not going to work with that delicious smelling roast that you're serving. Or maybe you have those wonderfully fragrant roses. They smell wonderful by themselves, but they're not going to smell that great when they're competing with the flavor of the food that you are serving, because you really want the smells from the meal to be the focus, not the overpowering sweet smells from flowers or other candle scents that you might have on the table. So that mistake, which is scented flowers and scented candles, do not make the mistake of putting them on your table. Okay, I've got another one for you. And this one does really have to do with setting the table, but it has a lot more to do with just basic understanding of how to set a table. Now, I need to tell you first, I do not judge friends and family when they do not have their table set correctly. I really judge those pictures I see online of beautifully styled tables, but they have things in the wrong place, because what that's showing me is that the person who set the table was a stylist, not somebody who actually knows how to set a table. So when I'm looking at those pictures online and I see the plate for the place setting, and then what I notice is the flatware is in the wrong places, drives me absolutely bonkers, because it is such an easy thing to just do a quick search online. Oh, wait, where do the knives, forks, and spoons need to go? But they don't know, and they don't do that 2-minute research. So quickly, your knife with the blade faces the plate. So knife goes on the right, blade facing the plate, the spoon goes right next to the knife, and the fork goes on the left side. That's just the basic table setting. So it's just a mistake that a lot of people make, but I do honestly see it made more when I'm looking at pictures online than when I'm over at people's homes. But just needed to make sure I covered it. And then the other part with that is napkins. Your napkin goes underneath your fork, next to it, or on top of the plate. It does not go underneath your knife and your spoon. It does not go on the right side. That's not where the napkin goes. So it goes on the left side or on top of your plate. It's up to you if you want to put your fork on your napkin or not. I think that's really just a decision on what you want to do. But when you're creating your place settings, there's another common mistake that people make in setting your table. And I understand that people just don't know, and that's okay, but if you're watching this video, you're trying to make sure you're doing it correctly. So think about creating a B with your left hand and a D with your right hand. And I know that doesn't look to you this way in the way that the video is showing, but take those, put your left hand down, you'll notice it makes a B. Put your right hand down, notice it makes a D. And what that's telling you is that the bread plate for B goes on the left, and drinks go on the right. So when you're setting your table, all of your drinking glasses go on the right side. D, right side. Okay, so again, try not to make that common mistake. Make sure your drinks go on the right side of your place setting. I have another one for you. And this one does have to do with setting the table, but it's really more about protecting your table. A lot of times I notice that people don't go to that step of thinking about what they're serving, so they're not planning on how to protect their table. And I'm not saying you need to have a tablecloth on your table. There are gorgeous tables out there that you do not want to cover. I know, trust me. So you don't have to have a tablecloth on your table to protect it. But what you really do need to have are some trivets, some way to protect your table from when you're putting hot dishes on it. You do not want your table to get damaged when you're putting hot plates and dishes on it. So make sure you've got some attractive coasters or trivets or something that's going to protect the surface of your table. And along those same lines, when you have your pitcher of water and it's filled with ice and it's nice and cold, it's going to get condensation, and that condensation is going to basically sweat. It's going to come down the sides of your water pitcher. And when you put it on your table, maybe not the trivet, but when you put it on your table, that condensation is going to sit along the outside of it, and it's going to create a ring, a water ring. Now, I do have a fabulous post on my website. In fact, it is the most popular post on my website that people go to over and over and over again about how to remove those white hazy rings from your table. If you have those white hazy rings, I'm putting the link below. Go check it out. I've removed them from my table. I know it works. I've done it. Go check it out yourself. But anyway, what I'm trying to get to with protecting your table on when you have something that is sweating like that, like your water pitcher, grab a napkin and just tie it around your pitcher. And it's kind of like a cute little bib for it. But what that's going to do is it's going to absorb that condensation. So it's not going to fall down your pitcher and create water rings on your table. So a great way to protect your table from water condensation. So I think that's a simple mistake that you can easily avoid, just that you have to remember it. Not a big deal at all, but think about protecting your table ahead of time so that way you don't have to react in the moment when something's happening. All right, I have one more mistake that I see people making all the time when they are setting tables or creating a tablescape. So let me move these out of the way and I'm going to share with you what that is. All right, the last most common mistake I see people make when they are setting a table is they're putting way too much on the table. It's overcrowded, it's overstyled, it's just almost like they kind of threw up on the table with so much stuff. And I'm going to show you an example of what I'm referring to, because I know visually you kind of really need to see it. So let's say I am decorating my table, and let's say this is the center of my table, and I am putting these wonderful bows on here, or bows, I guess is the correct pronunciation, sorry. And I've got another one, and I'm lining it down the middle of my table. And then I'm gonna grab maybe this lantern to go in the middle. And then I wanna add more to it because I feel like this is just not enough. So now I'm gonna start adding some vases, and I'm gonna put some candle holders in here. And I'm just going to keep adding as I'm going, and I'm adding more, and I've got a few more here. Oh, I've got another candlestick. Let's put this one over here, and I've got another vase. Oh wait, I still need to add more. I like my little rabbits. I think they're gonna look really cute. I'm gonna put another rabbit over here. And they just go on and on. And what happens is then they go to actually put the place settings on the table, and they don't have a good place for the drinking glasses. They're trying to figure out where that glass is going to go because their centerpiece is taking up too much space. Because let me tell you, when you put your drinking glass to the left of the place setting, which is, as we just told you, a mistake, the glasses go on the right, But if you don't have enough space on the right and you have to put it to the left, to me, it's a sign that you've overstyled. Your table setting is too crowded. And when that happens, take something off. Because most likely, if you've got that much stuff in the middle of your table, removing one or two things is not going to be a big deal. And your guests will not notice. So think about that. When you're creating this wonderful, beautiful tablescape and you've got this gorgeous centerpiece going on, if it gets in the way of the place settings and the drink glasses, it's too much. It's a mistake. Make sure that there's enough room that your guests, when they take a sip of their wine, they can find a place to put the glass back down. Because if they're having to move things out of the way to be able to set their glass down, it's too much. Now you know the most common mistakes in setting a table, and you know what mistakes to avoid. Because when you know what not to do, then you know what to do. I hope you have a wonderful week. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday here at the table. Bye.